Good evening. Welcome to another episode of the Side Eye. I'm Uptown Bobby,
And I'm K.Clark.
and we're back once again. It's springtime, and we are springing into this new episode. See what I did there? Um, with the latest topics from the interweb and whatnot. What are we gonna lead with? I think we could lead with something not as serious, and then maybe something a bit more serious. But you informed me of this, and I had no idea any of this was going on because I don't really keep up with news as much as I should when it comes to people I don't really care about their art or whatnot. But Jonathan Majors is on a redemption tour apparently, and some people take offense to it. I don't know.
Well, you're right about he's been on a traditional tour. He's been, of course, at first it was like they had a award ceremony. They had Hollywood Unlocked, which is like a popular shade room-esque type of like celebrity blog slash, it was run by a guy named Jason Lee, who's a very polarized person. But they gave an award to Jonathan Majors like some sort of type of courage or persistence award, whatever it was, and he cried in Ayala's bosom. And then since then, he's gone on Sherry Shepherd's show, done something similar with her, and now with Keke Palmer. And so with Keke Palmer, when the news was announced that he was going to be on her podcast, this is Keke Palmer. It was the backlash was pretty immediate. People were saying, "How could you platform an abuser since you've been, through your own situations with men yourself, particularly her baby daddy, her father of a child." And the backlash was so swift and severe that she pulled the episode and they instead of episode Cash Doll. Um, and so that's basically the gist of it is just that because Sherry got some backlash too, and Kiki got some as well. Um, and so that's been the basic idea is that people had a problem with her platforming or interviewing Jonathan Majors while he's on this, as you call it, a redemption tour, which I had thoughts about. We talked about in Messenger before we started this show. Um, what I'll say is that, of course, we're probably both a little biased. We have our journalism school background, so there's that. But for me, what I saw was just like, what the internet often does when these things happen. They tend to pile on and not make distinctions. I can see why people would have issue with Kiki interviewing Jonathan, like you said, because it is a different tour. It's because he recently had a movie come out not too long ago, Magazine Dreams. He's looking to rehabilitate his image still, like which to my opinion, to my mind, that explains that the marriage is making good appearing at all the Black award shows and Black spaces, all coordinated to like kind of get him back in the community so good graces after what went down between him and his white girlfriend basically, which was by all accounts an incident of abuse. Um, so with that said, I see why people are upset, but I don't like the idea that people are saying oh people seem to be saying, "Oh, you platform him. That mean you must either agree with him or that you endorse him or that you somehow are on the same page with him." Which is a dangerous road to go down, in my opinion, because if that's the case, then Gayle King is in league with R. Kelly when she interviewed him. Trey Ray is in league with R. Kelly when he interviewed him, and so on and so on. You go down the list of anybody that's a controversial. Um, Public figure or someone's been accused of or convicted of doing, a crime, essentially. Um, and so I think that's what's something that I noticed in all the discourses that people were just seem to making the connection that if you interview somebody, that automatically means you agree with what they stand for or what they did, or that you don't care about uh, holding them accountable, whatever that looks like. Um, that said, I get why people have issues with Keke interviewing because Keke Palmer is not a journalist. The same way Sherry Shepherd is not a journalist. Sherry, if you're gonna have him on, uh, then you need to take the stance of a Gayle King or a Toure by asking very tough, pointed, direct questions, not not just being good with guys are playing and talking about how much your son loves him, a la Sherry Shepherd. Or from the clip I saw with him and Keke, them talking about, time or whatever. It was one question she asked about, would you rather face the future or deal with your past? And he said, "What, my past?" And then she that was a golden opportunity to kind of segue into talking about it a little bit, but she just went past that and it's talking about like time and how time is this and that and the third, some rich folks talk. I don't know, but and and so I think that's the issue people have. That's the distinction I make. I don't have an issue with people with someone sitting down with somebody who's controversial or who's someone who's been accused of something doing of a crime, as long as you in this case a celebrity. I don't have an issue with that as long as you make an interview about really asking the hard tough questions and not just making it be just allowing yourself to be used for a PR opportunity.
Hmm.
So
I think niggas are too bored to disconcerted about Jonathan Majors, if I'm being 100%. Um, Jonathan Majors is a meme. Um, he is someone who went from people saying is well, they didn't actually say the next Denzel, but he was supposed to be in that next class of black male leading Hollywood, right?
mhm.
And he was well on his way there. The last black man in San Francisco. He was also
Lovecraft
in
Country.
Lovecraft Country. He was in Creed. He was in the Spike Lee joint with the Vietnam vets. He was doing like a lot of work to get him, he was a sex symbol, all the women were talking about fucking him, all this shit. And then the incident with the woman happened, which I'm still, I'm not even privy to all of the details. I just know it was a form of assault. And he lost a lot of stuff. He lost his Marvel contract. The movie about him being a bodybuilder got pushed back.
Mhm.
It's actually now available to stream even, so it didn't have a long run in the theaters. He's become a meme when it comes to him and Megan Fox, like the whole. I can't remember what actor it was that came and saw them, and then he hugged Megan, and he was just Jonathan Major standing back looking. Then the meme of him dancing at some party. It's just he's taken not as serious as he was like what 4 years ago or
Mhm.
3 years ago,
Yeah.
right? So naturally, with him, this movie finally being released and just time lapsing, he wants to get on the media circuit and promote stuff. And what I don't understand with people acting like this nigga Clarence Thomas, Ben Carson. Like Jonathan Majors has never been anti-black. I say he don't like niggas. Like he loves niggas. He is a nigga. He's a nigga from Dallas, and he's done a lot of black shit. So I don't understand why people are acting like he's going on these shows strategically. I mean, it is strategic, but he's
Yeah.
not picking these niggas just because they black. He black. Like it's
Mm,
not.
I don't know. I have to say, I mean, if this
Kevin,
if this
who is the View going to book him? No.
no,
Is he going to have a sit
that's
down with Diane Sawyer? No.
shoot,
He
Diane
is
would tear him
not.
apart.
He is not that big.
Diane would tear him apart.
He's a black actor
He
who's
ain't
been in
Whitney.
black shit, who black people know. So of course he's going to go black things to promote or talk. It's just I think
Well,
people are reaching with that. I think what it is people don't like him.
mm,
People feel like they. First of all, let's be real. He was fucking a white woman, and that turned a lot of people off.
yeah.
That's the elephant in the room. He was fucking a white woman. He was fucking a white woman when black people wanted him to be this blackity black figure, and a lot of black women wanted to fuck him. And when they found out he was fucking a white woman, they got the ick. They got the ick, and then they found out he, put his hands on. It. They was definitely turned off. And then he had those very weird interviews where he was talking about Coretta Scott
Yeah,
King.
mm,
So yeah, they think he lame as fuck, and he's an abuser. So they just don't like him. It's not even a topic about him using black outlets to do this redemption tour. Because first of all, he's black. He's never proven to be anti-black. He's never said, "Oh, you nigga." He's not Kanye West. He's just a nigga that
that's extreme.
he's just a nigga that had a horrible night and did something very stupid. But where else would you think he would go to tell his side of the story? Because he's not a huge star. To be honest, he was never a huge star enough to go on any other platform other than black platforms. because he was still seen as someone on the come up, not actually arrive.
Mm.
Um, so I think that part is silly. I think that part is just people just not liking him, so they just want to tear him down and be like, "Oh, look at him using black people." Like he not black. Like y'all niggas sound dumb, kind of. The thing with Keke, um, Kiki's not a journalist, but who what journalist? I mean, let's break down what a journalist is now, because a journalist, no, the art of journalism isn't what it is anymore. No one is, no one really has that journalistic integrity. It's everybody got a podcast, so anybody with a fucking microphone or a fucking YouTube channel or whatever the fuck think they're a journalist now. The game has fucking changed. And she is trying to book people who will give her, well, she's booking people who she wants to talk to because I'm sure she cares about that, but she's also booking people that people will want to listen to. So it's like a two for one thing. And also, I don't know why people act like this woman is above. Why I don't know why people think she's just this noble saint, or she should have the same uh, ideals you have. When she's a celebrity, he's a celebrity. They go to the same parties, they go to the same functions, they the same circles. So for you to think that she's above this is kind of silly on your part, and you're also projecting your ideals on someone else. And another thing is, how long you supposed to be mad at this nigga? Like, I mean, I don't give two fucks about Jonathan Majors. I'm indifferent about him. I didn't give a fuck about him before he beat up the white woman. I thought he was okay actor. I think he has very I think his facial features are too off-putting for me to take him seriously. I
Mhm.
just that sounds fucked up. I know, but I don't know.
He's not classically handsome.
Yeah, I just never just thought he was just oh Jonathan Majors. I thought he was okay. I thought he was a decent actor. I thought he had a lot of potential. I thought he had chops. But I just never was just making him the next it guy. But I was happy for the nigga getting shot. Whenever you get the Marvel chick, that's a big deal. Well, it was a big deal about
Well,
three,
yeah,
four
yeah, it
years
was,
ago.
yeah.
But I think it's much so there's nothing else to talk about. This is interesting enough to pass the day on Twitter or whatnot. So let's talk about this for a while until we run into something new. People will forget this. He'll probably do something else silly or memeable. They'll make him a meme again, and then maybe Spike Lee or somebody will give him a chance and he'll be able to, have his comeback. But I think it's interesting though how black people sometimes are a little too harsh, well, at least black people now are a little too harsh on some of these figures for making mistakes or doing shit. When Charlie Sheen can fuck people, purposely give them STDs, do all this shit, and he have a comeback tour, he get a sitcom, he get all this shit. Robert Downey Jr. was a crackhead. He did all this shit. He gets a redemption tour. No one says shit. I don't know. I think it's weird that black people always got to make niggas go through these Herculean efforts to get back on the good side. Like, I think that's really weird in 2025. Also, like Michael Jackson got accused of fucking kids, and whenever he came and wanted to do his little redemption tour, he'll be Muslim. He had Farrakhan next to him, and niggas didn't say shit. They just wanted to dance the Thriller.
Yeah,
I don't
Ramsey.
know. I just find shit really odd. Maybe it's generational because I know black people in the 90s was moonwalking when this man when OJ Simpson clearly killed those people, but just the fact that he was black and he didn't get it, they were celebrating. But I don't
Mhm.
know. It's really weird. It's a weird time. I think it's more so people just not liking certain people and not wanting to like and really want to just be like just tear them down continuously because they don't like them. Like I just don't think Jonathan Majors is R. Kelly. I don't think he's Tory Lanez. I don't think he's any of those irredeemable figures to people to even be wanting to point this much energy towards. He like I said, he was a nigga who did some shit to this woman that she didn't deserve, and yeah, he paid the price for it. His career completely got halted. I don't think he should be penalized for that forever. And if you just don't like the nigga, just don't like the nigga. Well, you always gotta create these narratives that he's using black people. Like these niggas using him. Everybody using each other. They booking him because shit, why not? He got a story to tell. And he going on there because shit, he wants to tell his side of it. So it's a quid pro quo relationship. No one's being exploited. Shit, they both exploiting each other. That's the business. So yeah, niggas are bored, and this shit will blow over, and somebody will give him a script, and he'll come back, and people forget it, and women will say they want to fuck him again.
Well, let's see. I would say, yeah, Alpha John Majors is black. I wouldn't say he's been anti-black. At least I'm not on record of anything of him being like, explicitly anti-black or consistently anti-black. I think what people are saying is that if Jonathan Majors was in a place in his career pre the assault, he wouldn't be on a Shay Shepherd show because
I don't buy that. I don't.
I don't see it.
How do you know that though?
I can see him I can see it. I can see
He's
him being
done
on Kiki.
media though.
I can see him being on Kiki, but I can't see him being on Sherry's show.
Sherry Shepherd is a nationally syndicated show though. It's not like she's some Chitlin Shirky shit. Like
She is, but I just
what's the difference between Sherry Shepherd and Jennifer Hudson? It's a daytime talk show,
it's daytime. I mean,
and they all do the same circuits.
depending on what it is. I mean, I'm not sure he would be on Jennifer Hudson.
He
He
would,
because
yeah, he would do the
maybe,
circuit.
maybe he would. I don't know. It's I think it's strategic in the sense that at least like I said, you have the Hollywood Unlocked Awards where the whole Ayala crying to her bosom, similar to Cher. It's just focus on them too. Women of a certain age, not that all Gen X ladies operate this way, but they are the women who will let him cry into their bosom, offer him forgiveness, offer him their protection, essentially, while at the same time turning around and calling black women gutter snipes. He's going to those type of women, you
But
know.
Keke Palmer is not those women though.
Uh,
She's,
she was also dancing on R. Kelly's lap, you
but
know.
see what I'm saying? Like we make these goalpost statements about a man he's doing celebrity shit. All celebrities do the same shows in the same media when they're promoting stuff. So to say that he's using black people, I find that disingenuous when he's just doing typical media press. He was on Cam Newton's podcast or show or whatever that is.
I guess
Um,
well, even not to make it about black folks, well, to take a different turn, it's just he's positioned himself as a victim, and he's not a victim. I
well,
think,
I don't think he's okay. So I won't say he's a. I don't think. I think he feels like he's a victim because of what happened to his career, right? And
mm.
I think he feels like I've paid my dues. What more do you? How much more do I need to
Well,
suffer?
but has he? I mean, I guess what I'm saying by that is he is not owed a career. Like he is not owed an Oscar-winning, legendary next Denzel-esque career. No artist necessarily is owed a career as a full-time artist. If it happens, it happens. But if it doesn't happen, it doesn't necessarily. And if it doesn't, if it gets derailed, in his case by some actions that he took, then it's not necessarily on us as the public to forgive him or to give him another chance necessarily. It doesn't have to be something as serious as assault. It could be something simple as I don't like the new haircut, so I ain't going to see his movie. I don't like the makeup is garbage. I ain't going to see that song. I mean, seriously, it is. I
No,
mean,
that's a fair point, and I agree. I agree with that.
your career as a public facing artist relies on people liking you and engaging with what you do because they get something out of it. Yeah, it's
Right.
about you and your dream and what you want, but it's also about you giving them something. And if they decide that it's not what they want, then they very well within their rights to say like, ugh, you know, for reasons like that are superficial and reasons that are very, serious in this case.
Right. But it also gets to a point to where I mean I get what he's saying to an extent, like how long do I have to be condemned for a mistake, or for something? It just gets back to the point of people.
I think,
I hate
well,
to I hate to say virtue signaling, but
mm,
it's like everyone wants to play the game of angels versus demons when we don't know what people do when they're not logged on online. So
mm.
it's like you throw, he who without sin and cast the first stone type shit,
I
right?
guess it's true, but I guess in the sense if you like the example you mentioned, Robert Downey Jr. Robert Downey Jr. for a long time suffered with drug addiction. and that made him a liability on sets. People didn't want to hire him because they wasn't sure if he'd be able to stay clean, so on and so forth. But at some point, he committed to sobriety, and as far as we know, has stuck to his sobriety. And so if that's the case, then now the studio's like, okay, a year has passed, 2 years have passed, 5 years have passed, a decade has passed, 15 years have passed. We can now trust that if we hire you for a movie that you're going to show up and do the job. I'm not gonna, if I'm a studio here, I'm not afraid I'm gonna wake up and see you were in jail for the DUI or that the police found you with, a gram of cocaine on you or whatever. You know, that takes what? Time. So for some folks, it may take 1, 5, 10 years of him not having any more public incidents of, abuse and seeing that the marriage with Megan is a real thing and that's not just PR. It may take time. It may just may.
I think that's weird to think that's PR though.
And some folks may never get over it, and that's fair. You
Right.
know,
I don't think I can call a celebrity marriage like that PR. Now I do think I think it's I think it's convenient for both of them, but I don't know about PR because he's an attractive young black man. She's an attractive young black woman. It's not like he's. I can't think of a our couple marriage right now that looks fake, but those are two people who will probably fuck in real life without being famous. So I don't think it's necessarily a PR thing.
mm.
These are people who are all, like I said, they all in the same circles. They're all rich. They all, do stuff. They all hang out. So I don't think it's unlikely for them to be paired with each other and think it's a hoax, because shit, who
I mean,
wouldn't want to fuck?
they're the same world. Yeah, they're young, they're
Yeah,
fit. Yes,
yeah.
yes,
Who
yeah,
who wouldn't
yeah.
want to fuck Megan Good and then for most women who wouldn't want to fuck Jonathan Majors? So it's like to call that PR, I think it's like I said, it just goes back to people disliking him so much that everything he does is ew. That nigga fake. That nigga phony. Ugh. And it's just like you have nothing better to do with your life but hate somebody you don't know.
Well, I do
Because
think.
like I
I
think
think. Go
it's
ahead.
loser behavior. And I think people just need to get some fucking real business and get some real problems. Like I said, Jonathan Majors did something that was very wrong, and he lost. He lost the potential. He was going to be lined up to be Marvel's next big bad villain. You know, so he's lost several movies worth of income. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And who knows what other opportunities people probably pulled off because they was like, you kind of a little too hot right now. We got to let you go. You know, um, and I think that he has a right to speak on his behalf. And I think if people want to invite him, because also you gotta look, like I said, it's quid pro quo. These people are inviting him for a reason. It's not like he begging them his agent saying, "Man, give us 5 minutes. That's all we asking for." No, they're reaching out. They're talking to each other. They're talking to his agent. Then they give him his airtime, and they talk. And that's the business. That's Hollywood, baby.
Well, I think there are, I guess, I call it tiers. I guess I think there are folks who are virtual signaling and just want to pile on and don't have no ability. And they just want to drag Jonathan because they just see us where the wind is blowing. We have those folks. But I do think you have folks who are maybe some who also have been through their own domestic situations who are very bothered by the idea that all it takes is, a few well-planned media appearances and, the right role, and then he back.
Because
Same with Chris Brown. It's the same
I
folks
was just gonna say
but
they
but
gonna
that's not
give
but they do though. Some folks do though. But
some folks do, but that nigga career has not really missed a beat.
it
Like,
has,
let's keep it real.
but I think that's the concern is that the past precedents of like, that nigga trash, but he got boxed. There's some folks who don't want you to abide by that system anymore. You know,
Anymore.
but you know what I mean? Like people, there are people who want true sort of. They want people who want to who want to encourage
Some
people to
type of
think.
justice.
Yeah, to think. Well, think critically, just to think. Okay, someone coming back and someone does something horrible, and then they do like one great performance, but they cry. Is 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 that enough? Should that be enough for the audience? Is that proof of a changed behavior. In Chris Brown's case, look at the things that happened since, probably not so much. Jonathan, again, it may take time to see what happens. Um, I think people. What I would say is that you got people who want to drag him, regardless because, like you said, they bored and they want to just appear to be the moral, upstanding person online and whatever. But I think there are people who are genuinely skeptical, with good reason, um, and want to don't want to just want people to be aware of of what of not being uncritical stands essentially. And with Keke, I'll say this is something YouTuber, I guess I call him a cultural critic that I follow. King of Reed said, and I agree with. People are shocked at Keke for platforming Jana because she's had her own domestic violence situation. And King of Reed said this, and I agree. Just because someone has been through something personally does not make them an expert on it.
No, because it's the same reason Rihanna has never just publicly said she hated Chris Brown. I mean, at one point, didn't they date again? Or
I think they
I
were
don't know.
I think they've been seen together. But yeah, so just
Yeah.
because it's because some what he said more simply is just because someone's been through a situation doesn't mean they've developed a politic around it. So just because he has been through things with her own baby dad doesn't mean she has the she's fully processed you know cycles of abuse and everything else and all that means outside of herself.
or maybe she just don't give a fuck.
That's you.
I mean, that
That's
sometimes could be the whole thing. People will do all this word salad and all these think piece shit. At the end of the day, maybe she was like, that bitch was white. I don't know what y'all was doing in that car. Hey, I don't know. But when I see you out, we have a good time. We drink. We talk about, man, we need to do a movie together. Like,
mm,
I just think people sometimes they project too much of their own personal feelings onto these people that they don't know and would never meet. And while these people they kiki and kaka at these parties, they at each other's houses, they're going on vacation together. You think Beyonce and them don't fuck with Dave Chappelle? Dave Chappelle probably called them niggas right now. They probably have a good laugh. They probably like, Dave is so fucking funny.
probably.
Meanwhile, niggas hate them because, Dave is a transphobic, dickhead. But that don't mean Jay-Z and Beyonce don't like him. These people are their friends. They hang in the same circles that you aren't invited to. So once we accept that, maybe we can stop playing who's pure and who's tainted and all that bullshit. Because at the end of the day, they don't give a fuck about what you think. They
Well,
pretend they do. They do it when they have to sell some shit to you.
mm,
But when they not making movies or hawking shit at you, they don't give a fuck what you think. That's why Keke probably only backed off because she was like, damn, we still got this movie to stream. Fuck. Okay, pull the shit.
mm. Well, yeah,
I don't know.
I think that's well, I guess in the consumer's defense, so I guess I'd be us on this side. I mean, art, music, movies, they all provoke emotion and very strong emotion. And so it's one thing, like from asking, I don't know, your some local person, that has the everyday job, like the mailman, that man trash for sure. He put the mail in on time, but there's no emotion involved with that because you just do, it's just a service. You get the mail, he gives you the mail, or she gives you the mail, they give you the mail, it's a wrap. But with a celebrity, this person, you know, has come into your life, usually comes into your life at a time, when you are forming your perception of the world, using Beyonce, for example. You meet Beyonce at 11, 12 years old, and from 11 years old to 41 years old, he's been through all these emotional experiences and adding to them. And there's it's a the lines are blurred intentionally because I
Mm-hmm.
mean art is designed to I mean if you don't feel something from it, then what's the point? So on the one hand, yeah, that's why I think people form an attachment. They call it parasocial relationship to be all fancy. Um, People form an attachment because it's by design. I mean, obviously that's marketing and it's a whole machine attached to it. But even your local indie artist, the reason why you listen to somebody because you relate to something that you relate to something in the music, about it. There's some emotion to it. So I think there's a middle ground in between like, these people don't give a fuck about you, so fuck them. And also they are public figures and their actions do have an impact beyond their bubble on us. So we do need to be aware of that and critical of that. I think there's a middle ground in between that. Because
What is the
even Keke Palmer don't give a fuck. Her platform of Jonathan could impact your cousin who baby dad just put hands on her to think, oh well shoot, you keep forgive her man, maybe forgive my man, you know.
Oh, I don't know about all that. You gonna
But
do this shit anyway.
but you know what I mean it's
You
like
gonna do this
what
shit anyway.
I guess what I mean is that like
I get what you're
her
trying to say,
yeah
but I don't
her
think that was the best example.
what I mean is that celebrity actions they may live in a bubble, but the things that they put out have impact beyond just
Oh yeah, the art.
yeah
Yeah, oh,
yeah
yeah. I get what you're saying.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's a better way of putting it.
right. Yeah, I get what you're saying with that aspect for sure. But I also do think that people are grandstanding a little bit too much about this situation when y'all were just laughing at the nigga because he was a meme badly dancing at a party. You know,
Well,
it's just
because then he wasn't trying to come back. He was in the wilderness, but now he's like
I
making
don't.
inroads.
But see, that's the thing though. People been saying he been trying to make a comeback for like the last year and a half. Remember
But
he was
now it's
he
getting
was he
steam though.
he was
He was
breaking up a fight, and it
yeah.
was like,
I was about to put it
yeah,
up a fight quotation marks. But see that those on their face are ridiculous stunts. Like breaking up the fight, the little dance and all that stuff is like you can easily dismiss that. But like being on Sherry Shepherd, being on Keke Palmer, it's like it's weaving his way back into it's just it's that's the latter that is more there's more weight to that because like oh this is like the building blocks are coming. The PR team is like stepping their game up.
oh, he just promoting a movie. I don't know. I don't know. But it's an interesting time to be a black actor. But also, I do want to kind of bring back the point is though, how like what do why are we I can't even say that because I was gonna say why are we harder on black actors and or black artists compared to white counterparts, but also I was gonna say, well shit, I can't even make that example when Chris Brown is going on a tour this year celebrating 20 years. And and selling people pay thousands of dollars to shake Chris Brown's hand after the shows. So it's like I don't know. I'm not even gonna
Because
delve into that topic.
I also being light skinned don't hurt. First of all, I'm just gonna say it, but also I think with Chris, people are invested in the narrative of him that they necessarily aren't with Jonathan Majors. I think because with Chris and Brown after the incident, it changed both their careers. It's like she went her way and she ascended as far as in the mainstream. He didn't. It was like a ceiling on his career since then. Up to that point, he was like the good boy, like a clean cut kid, almost like a
Yeah,
mini Usher in a way. But after that, he
kind of
like
like a Justin Bieber.
in a way, yeah.
Yeah.
But after that, the tattoos came, the misogyny came in the music. Everything else, all the incidents started to happen and pile up. So it's like almost like I think people have this idea that if it wasn't for that, should he be Michael? If it wasn't for that, he'd be up here, but he down here. So we got to hold him up because they try to destroy him. You know, it's that narrative of what could have been and it didn't happen. So now we got to make sure he's still because they tried to destroy him. So
Yeah, for some people.
it's not even about him so much as it's about their people's own projections. And some of it is people like his music. Some people like his music and they still want to see him. You know, so
They still like that nigga.
so I'm sure just to be transparent, I'm sure if I went down the list of artists I like, I'm sure you could probably find some
Oh, everyone.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, so it's a slippery slope for sure. But I just feel like
Go ahead.
what'd you say? No, what'd you say?
Everybody has their line. I mean, for me personally, it was easy for me to let go of Chris Brown because I never found him interesting as an artist necessarily. I mean, I like to his songs, but I wasn't all into him like that. Same with R. Kelly. It was easy to let go of R. Kelly. You know, Kanye held on for a while, but then I just had to
I mean, I still listen to Kanye,
scab to the
but
wind.
I still listen to Kanye, but it's not like every day.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like I don't seek it out. But what I mean is that I think part of it is get back to what you said about Jonathan Majors. Part of it is if you really attach to somebody, it's hard to let it go. And Jonathan, he was building his career. He wasn't to the point yet where he had really like established himself. So
Yeah.
it's easy people to like wash their hands of him than it would be for say someone like uh Kenan Thompson or like even like Denzel.
Keenan Thompson, man, fuck Keenan Thompson. I
No,
don't give a
but you know
fuck
what I mean.
about no
Like
Keenan
Kenan,
Thompson.
but no, you know, like Kenan Thompson, like Good Burger, all that. Like memories are attached,
I
but
guess I heard
in a
weird shit
way.
about that nigga, but yeah, I guess.
But Denzel, that's a good example.
Okay, well
Denzel,
Denzel, yeah,
yeah,
I was still, yeah, Denzel would have to, he would have, you would have to show me some tape of
yeah.
whatever you said Denzel did.
People invest no because you're investing in this because you've been watching him for the
Right.
last how many years. You've been watching John for that
But
long. So
also, niggas say that same thing about Bill Cosby. I'm like, bro, you ain't got no real dad. You ain't got no
I,
real father figure.
but
Like, you need a hug. I don't give a fuck about that man.
But even
Oh
what
man.
real quick about even what people who like one more than the other, the whole thing with Carrie Hilson, she came out it's old T and B, but back in the day she released that remix of Turn Me On that seemingly dissed Beyonce and Sierra and Beehive stung her up and she ain't been the same since. But she went on the Breakfast Club saying basically that she was coerced or forced into doing it by Polo the Don, essentially. That he was the producer, but also the label head, and told her if you don't do this remix with these lyrics, I'm going to show your album, basically. Uh, so that, according to her side, that's what happened. But from the reaction that I've seen, people's response to this has been, "Girl, we don't care. It's been 20 years and this, that, and third. And it's like you should have just said no and let your career die because it died anyway." It's like this callousness because obviously they like Beyonce more, you
Mm.
know. So
So I guess that's the next segue into a next topic. A Brooklyn school backed by Jay-Z said students could graduate debt free, but now they're buried in said debt. And
mm,
this story broke. I saw it April 8th,
mm,
reported from the Gothamist
mm,
newsletter. And long story short, in the fall of 2021, Jay-Z's inaugural class of the Rock Nation School of Music, a partnership between LIU Brooklyn and Jay-Z's entertainment company, it promised to have stars come like the Jonas Brothers and Rihanna to give lectures to the students. Basically, just give the students kind of like a media slash music slash marketing degree of sorts, but without the debt of like traditional college.
mm,
Unfortunately, none of that has happened. Apparently, they haven't met with the Rihannas. They haven't met with the Jonas Brothers. Uh, they're graduating, but they've also been in debt, um, or in debt currently
mm,
after they were promised to graduate debt free. And it's a dozen students, the story reports, that were in this class that unexpectedly owe LIU thousands of dollars. So, not a good look for Hove, but I don't know how actually involved with Hove, with Jay Z was. I mean, other than slapping his name on it, and all that, how involved he was going to be with the day-to-day operations of said institution. Um, Also, rappers stop trying to make schools because Kanye, Donda Academy is
yeah,
also another horror story apparently
mm-hmm,
of just broken
yeah.
promises and just unfulfilled potential. But yeah, how do you feel about this story and what did you take away from it? Uh, do you think it's just miscommunication, or do you think it's just once again Jay Z having too many irons in the fire?
I think it was misleading from the articles because they say the court students saying that they received a message saying that this is all free, you graduate debt free, but then now that the debt is piled up, the college is coming back and saying, oh, actually it wasn't we didn't mean debt free, we meant tuition free. So you don't owe tuition with everything else costs. So to me, it's I think they intent. I think I'm saying intention because I don't know, but it seemed like the students were misled. They were led to believe that if they go to college there, that they're gonna have experience with all these mentors, famous mentors, celebrity visitors, and also they graduate debt free. And now one of the things is the case. I think Megan Thee Stallion was the only one that really came and visited the campus. Um, you know, and I think I don't know, it kind of just smacks of like, good on they good on paper, but then the reality was like not that. I mean, I read they had to build their own studio to record, at the
Hmm.
school, and the teacher was using some of the faculty was using it to record. We're like, woo, you know. And so I think, I mean, with Jay-Z's name attached to it, I mean, that's a selling point. I mean, I mean, because you can go to, I mean, most a nice sized college will have like a music department. But if you attach Jay-Z's name to it, okay, it's not just a typical music department. It's like, contemporary music business. I'm going to learn about being an artist and how to make that into a career. And so yeah, I think I mean, maybe too many irons in the fire, maybe it's just another Barclays, you know,
Hmm.
uh, where he on paper he's the owner of the bar of that
Hmm.
of Barclays, but in reality he was like what how you like less than
Yeah, like a
a percent or
small
something.
the
Yeah,
majority owner. Yeah.
yeah, and then he got bought out or whatever, and that was rap on that. Or like the Bitcoin a few years ago, in the Marcy projects offered Bitcoin classes. It's like a pattern of like attaching his name to things that sound like they benefit everyday people, but they don't. It doesn't. The end result doesn't really add up to much. At least in those examples. And then this current example with this school. Um,
Yeah, it sounds bad, man. It just feels like once again, uh, Jay-Z just has his name attached to something that he really should have thought about. It's like kind of like with the NFL deal.
mm,
The backlash he got for actually doing it, and then the people wanting the receipts are like, okay, what y'all really doing with this? This is really something about justice, or is this something for another, just something for you to pad your resume with and get your friends to perform at the Super Bowl. So
what
it's like,
what has it been? So I mean, no, what have we watched for the last 5 years? So
right. It's very odd, and I think Jay Z. I used to feel like Jay Z was bad. I used to feel like Jay Z was always people go out their way to attack him because it was kind of like he was an easy target.
mm.
But now I feel like sometimes he just wants to slap his name on too much shit, man. And I think he needs to sometimes better vet his business endeavors.
I mean, I guess I mean, I'm not sure what it's even affect him because I mean, I'm not sure how widely this is being reported. Really, I mean, I saw it aside from the Gothamist article, I saw an article in Black Enterprise about it, but I haven't seen like the type of like. I mean, Donda had like had a whole in-depth expose about how
Mm-hmm.
bad things were. This article is pretty lengthy, but it's not gonna make the front page of like it hasn't
Oh
broke a bridge.
no,
It hasn't broke a bridge
no,
into discourse
no.
like
Right,
yeah.
right, right. Yeah, no one's gonna talk about this until um, maybe another student comes forward, or maybe the debt gets reduced. I don't know, but right now, uh, it's not something that's going to really hurt his name. But it just makes another argument about how a lot of the time he just does shit to do shit, and it backfires, or it just makes him look like you know just I won't say a poor businessman, but just a
Well,
nigga who cares only about business and not about any of the other shit he tries to get people to buy into. Like, oh, I'm
yeah,
doing this for us.
yeah, it gives the appearance of, community uplift or like, I guess, black excellence, but really it's about, getting the name attached to it, and I guess whatever money comes with that, or seems to be the case. Because I mean,
Yeah, man.
even he, I mean,
Uh,
they even mentioned him going about a school, or anything like
right.
that. You would think you can name
Yeah,
even
cause
like once a semester or something.
yeah, cause this is really just goes to show you how a lot of schools are using predatory tactics almost
Mm,
to get students to enroll. Because I work at a HBCU and it's private. It's smaller in a sense, but it's very tuition driven. And if we don't have a certain amount of students, then they start threatening us with layoffs and making payroll and all that shit. And they gather these students out of anywhere and they give them, hey, our tuition is only 17.5, 17, $1,000. You don't get that everywhere. Come here and we'll, offer you this and that. And we have students who come there, and I've had like real candid conversations, and they say I was sold a lie. I want to transfer.
Mm.
And it just shows you that just because something is backed by black people doesn't always mean it's going to have the best interest of black people. Because then the so-called black people say, well, this is a business. And it's like, well, damn, you say it's a business,
That's
but
yeah. That's forgive me. It's like people say, "Oh, what this is about us. It's about the community, so on and so forth." And then when the shit hit the fans, like, "Oh, what you expect? It's business. It's business. Like, get your
yeah,
business together." Like, what? You said it was about us.
right.
You
And
know.
two things can be true. You can have something that has a business model, but it also ain't got to fuck black people or fuck people over. You
Mhm.
know, like you shouldn't have to fuck people over to hit your bottom line, right? And I think this is a problem in higher ed, period, but also situations like this where you have to come up with measures and sale gimmicks and stuff like this to get people to sign the dotted line, period. Because they all talk about this upcoming enrollment cliff where they feel like, due to, you know, uh, fewer babies having been born around 2007, falling birth rate is going to make it like less students to recruit eventually. And it's
Mm.
true if you look at the numbers, but also maybe we got too much. Maybe we got too many fucking colleges to start with. How about that? And that goes for all of them. That goes from community college to universities to HBCUs. Maybe it's too many of y'all. Maybe some of y'all niggas need to consolidate into one university. How about that? Or maybe some of y'all shouldn't have such large enrollments. Maybe some of y'all should have only 300 to 400 students and maybe
Oh yeah.
less staff. But it's always somebody trying to turn something into a hustle,
Mm.
and that's the
Well, yeah.
biggest problem.
That's a big problem too. Is teaching treating college as a for-profit business rather than because I mean back in the because so often like people our parents' age or even older they school was it was easy for them to go to school because school was extremely was
Mhm.
a lot more
The
affordable. You could
cheaper,
have
yeah.
you have a part-time job or even a full-time job and go to school and pay for it because it was in that range. But then uh the Reaganomics and a bunch of other factors that's changed a lot to the point where it's
Mm.
not affordable for most people.
Yeah, yeah, and it's sad though that it's become so exploitive.
Mm.
People say it's been exploited for like what, since the 80s or
Oh,
90s,
yes.
but it's getting worse. And examples like this Jay Z. I hate to say Jay Z because I'm pretty sure he's going to end up releasing a statement eventually about it, saying that, oh, that's not the whole story or whatever the fuck. But
Mm.
it's unfortunate that schools have to use those type of measures to recruit, but also, if y'all know y'all ain't got this shit or go do that shit, just come up with a better pitch. Like just, you shouldn't have to stoop that low because most of the people they were targeting and getting it were like not people from they were a vulnerable demographic, to put it like that.
Mm.
These weren't people who were able to uh, write checks to go to other schools or whatnot. Many of them chose this school because of the pitch
Yeah, because even the
of it
article they
being
said,
free.
yeah, even the article they say some recipients went to greatly stay enrolled, like house surfing for months, or because they realized they were had to pay for housing and other fees. They said they dropped out of school completely or transferred to other schools because of the costs. So yeah, I think they definitely were misled at the very least to believe that they wouldn't have to pay anything for school. Then once they got there, like they realized, oh, I got to pay for housing, I got to pay for this and that, and so yeah, I think they definitely were. They probably felt misled about the ad, the pitch.
Hmm. Yeah, man, don't believe everything you see. Unfortunately, and I hate to say it, but you got to do your fucking research. But moving on to other business. What you watched lately?
Mhm. I really haven't watched that much. I've been watching stuff on YouTube. uh, I haven't watched any new shows recently or anything like that. What about you?
Yeah, I've been watching. I watched Paradise on Hulu. I
Mm.
really enjoyed it. Um, I really can't wait to see the second season. It's a good show. It's like a murder mystery, but also like futuristic dystopian.
Okay.
So it's got some layers to it. I enjoyed it. Also, what else? Oh, I watched The Pit. The Pit is a show on Max. It's a hospital drama,
Mm.
but unlike Grey's Anatomy and a few others, uh, it's not so much about what happens outside of the hospital room. It's more about like the hospital drama. So I like that aspect of it.
Mm.
And it's real graphic, like very graphic.
Mm. Okay.
So yeah, I've been watching those two shows. And I'm also excited to see some movies. I think something we could review. It'd be the Michael B. Jordan movie coming out this weekend,
The vampire movie?
Sinners. Yeah.
Oh,
hmm
yeah, I saw a clip of that. It looks interesting.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and watch it. I'll bite. Why not?
Well, speaking of movies, it's in the air that they may remake The Bodyguard.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised. We've reached that point to where everything needs to be remade or revamped or rebooted or whatever the fuck. So,
Mhm.
um,
I don't see it. Well, I want to say it. Well, it's been rumored that it may be Taylor Swift playing the title role, which
so they're gonna make the artist white and the bodyguard black.
I don't know, but either I'm not sure. But to me, even if the movie is better than the original, what made what truly made the Bodyguard iconic was the soundtrack
hmm
and what we did with that soundtrack. That's what made it like a cultural. I mean, the movie was very successful, but what made it a cultural phenomenon was the soundtrack. It was "I Will Always Love You," "I Have Nothing," "I'm Every Woman," the tour. After that's what made it the thing. And I don't think that's possible
It
with a soundtrack in this day and age.
no, it was lightning in the bottle,
Like
man.
the
You
body,
had
exactly. Yeah.
you had Whitney Houston, who was already a large artist. You had a hot Kevin Costner. You had a decent script, and they just had great chemistry. And like you said, the soundtrack. It just all the stars align, and you're not going
Mm.
to have that type of success again with this. Even if the script could be better than the original,
Mm.
but it's not going to have all those dominoes fall like the first one to make it as successful. It's hard to get hits, man. I think the longer we live and the more movies I've seen and remakes happen and all that, it's hard to get that original lightning strike moment, that lightning in the bottle. It just needs so much shit to happen. And even when you do a remake or a longer awaited sequel, the magic kind of gone. Like Coming to America 2, I still haven't seen it. Got no
Damn,
desire to
shit.
see it. Because why? Why do we need that? And from what I heard, it wasn't even that great. It just
Or, or even
yeah.
I heard, she finally got the green light on Friday, which she, I mean, not to be morbid, but she pops in Depot dead. I mean,
Right.
you
Some
know,
things just need to be left like this long
and
awaited Friday sequel. Man,
well, as
nobody
I
want to
said,
see
I
that
mean,
shit.
yeah, because at this point, I mean, Craig, Craig in his mid-50s. I mean, how's it gonna work?
Right. It's just
Craig,
some things need to be just left alone in the ether.
uh,
Just it happened, and that's what we need to move on. But I think also it takes us as a people to uh, I guess support original screenplays more, and also when things like this come out, if it does come out, maybe just ignore it. I don't know, but if you put Taylor Swift in it, then you kind of generating success almost because
I think,
shit.
yeah, it would have to be a different type of movie, I guess, with a different type of. I'm not sure what to be approached with because, like I said, like in that movie, Whitney performed for the songs from the soundtrack, so the soundtrack became part of the the script, which actually originally was supposed to be Diana Ross. Uh, they originally had came with the bodyguard. Then they went through a bunch of development for like 10 years. They ended up going like to Whitney and Kevin Costner. That's a fun
Mm.
fact.
But yeah,
But
do you do you have a favorite remake or movie that was like re-altered or whatever?
uh, I don't know. I'm trying to think of one for as a remake. I can't think. Well, off top of my head, I can't think of one actually. Not really.
I got one, and I think it was better than the original, and it's the Karate Kid with Jaden
Uh, okay,
Smith.
yeah, I like that one. Yeah, I watched.
I thought,
I saw that one.
yeah, I
Yeah.
thought that was better than the original one. It just was a good movie.
Hmm.
I think it was really timely.
Hmm.
Um,
I mean, it's not a remake, but it's a reimagining of like a novel that I thought really worked really well. I mean, Clueless, you know, it's based on
Clueless had a remake.
it's based on a novel. It's not exactly
Oh,
a
because you said it's
remake, but
based off
yeah,
a book. Oh,
yeah.
oh yeah, they don't really count, Kelly.
They don't count.
But
Yeah. uh,
oh yeah.
remakes. I mean, well, that's not a remake. That was is a sequel or was a remake? Texas Chainsaw. That was a remake. The
Oh yeah,
first one they
yeah,
did.
yeah. Those were remake. Those were
I,
pretty good.
I saw that one in the theater with me and a friend. We saw that.
I
Shit,
like some of the Halloween, the Rob Zombie ones.
uh, I mean, stylistically, it looked kind of cool, but it was they were too violent for me. Not violent because I couldn't take the
Ooh,
violence. It
yes,
just
over the
it's
top.
overkill. Like just like it was like
Yeah,
I tell you especially when she tried to run, like stabbed in the head, like and was like scraping the back of her vertebrae. Like damn, she dead. Shit. Like you could see the white
right,
of her bones. Like I mean, just to the white meat show. Like Brittany Mack said, like it was all right, we get it. She died.
right. Very over the top. Yeah, I can't. It's a real short list because I know they did White Man Can't Jump, and I didn't even watch it because I was like, why?
I ain't watch it.
I'm not gonna watch that, man. It's just some things you just gotta leave some shit alone. Just let it be, man. We don't need it. We don't. We
Or if
didn't
you, or
ask
if you,
for it.
or if you do, you got to reimagine it in a way that makes sense for the new time. You know what I mean? Like you got to make it make
Yeah,
sense for the present day. I guess like a Star Wars. I haven't seen the Star Wars Born any of the incarnations of it, but I think the reason why it keeps getting remade because it gets remade, they make it fit the era that it's being released in.
yeah, they try to. Yeah,
Yeah,
uh, yeah, they do. Like I remember they did a remake of Steel Magnolias, and it just did not hit the same because it was
yeah.
just they tried to do it scene by scene, but they just had
Mm.
black people in it, and I was like, nah,
Ah, okay.
that's not. It came on Lifetime. It was Queen
Mm.
Latifah and a few more heavy hitters, but it just what the same, man.
Yeah. But shout out to Latifah because she went to Coachella this weekend with Megan Thee Stallion.
I didn't even know Mega headline. I didn't know. I've been so out the loop on shit. I didn't know who headlined Coachella. So Megan headlined it.
I think. Well, I'm not sure if you hear. She had a. I mean, she had a probably like a 20 minute or 30 minute set, I guess, because she brought out
Right.
Sierra and Victoria Monet and then like Queen Latifah. Uh,
I heard Missy had a really cool performance too.
I haven't watched it, but I've seen the entrance. She came out. It was like the big Mega Man costume she wore in the Soccer Chubby video, basically.
And I know T
But
Pain,
like a huge version of it.
right. And I saw T Pain got to perform. I didn't know it was his first time performing at Coachella.
Oh, and then I think Gaga was like the headliner. I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think she's probably had the big 2 hour slot. I guess.
Yeah, that's the thing. I be wondering sometimes who they. 'Cause I know Billie Eilish was there. I think her
Hmm.
and Charlie XCX had a. I don't know if they had a set or they just had a performance together.
No, okay.
But yeah, it's hard to care about this stuff. I think the last time I actually cared and I was gonna watch it was Frank Ocean,
Hmm.
and then everybody got everybody got robbed. I
Yeah.
had a friend who went basically just for Frank, and he was really disappointed.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Ocean.
But now they saying Frank is like gearing up for an album.
I saw he posted some picture maybe about 2 weeks ago or a month ago. Some picture of him posing, looking somber, like he in captivity, but artistic. So I guess something coming. I don't know. You know, I Frank does what he does. So when it comes out,
Yeah,
I'll give it a listen.
yeah. And I'm a huge fan of Frank Ocean, but it's also get to the point to where like I don't even care no more.
Man, he may not even care as far as like following a typical career
Oh
path.
yeah, I
So
think he showed that
mm,
with how long it took between with the way he did Blonde, how it was
mm,
like two albums basically, but to get one he did one basically to get out his deal,
mm,
and since he been out that deal, I mean shit, he ain't really made no music.
mm.
So, but more power to him though.
Mm.
So as we are winding up this episode, um, winding up, I don't know. We just want to let y'all know we'll be back soon, probably by May with another episode. We'll do some film reviews. We'll review Sinners and maybe something else that catches our eye. I did want to see Sing Sing. It's on Max now.
I haven't heard of that.
You ever heard of it? It's the movie
Mm-mm.
with what's up boy name? He's black, very good actor. He did the movie where he played the civil rights figure. God, man, my mind is blank. The gay Quaker.
Oh,
The gay,
Bayard. No,
yeah,
no. Oh, yeah.
no,
Oh,
yeah,
Coleman Domingo.
yes,
Okay. Yeah, he's in the prison.
yeah. He
All
did a
right. Yeah,
prison
yeah,
movie
yeah,
called Sing Sing.
yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I've been wanting to see that. So I watched that and, the Michael B. and Ryan Coogler movie. So yeah, we'll be back with some new content. I'm sure something interesting to happen we could talk about, and we'll go from there. Y'all, thank y'all for listening. Can't wait to hear some feedback, and y'all take care.
All right.